So last week, Nintendo dropped Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy onto Nintendo Switch Online. Well, they followed up this week with the sequel. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have the announcement here over on X from Nintendo of America. It's up to Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong to rescue Donkey Kong from Captain K. Rool. Donkey Kong Land 2 is now available for Nintendo Switch Online members. And this is a second in a trilogy of Donkey Kong Land games that came out for the Game Boy. And the first game used pretty much the assets from Donkey Kong Country and compressed that down onto the Game Boy to create a new game. And likewise, this one's described by Nintendo Power actually as being a conversion of Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. And while it kind of reuses some of those assets, pretty much the game's completely different. There are two levels from the Super Nintendo counterpart, Castle Crush and Haunted Hall, that became Dungeon Danger and Crazy Coaster, respectively. And the plot for both games are pretty much the same. K. Rool's kidnapped Donkey Kong and has him at Crocodile Island, and it's up to Diddy and Dixie to save him. Now, Donkey Kong Land 2 came out in September of 1996 to some pretty positive reviews. In fact, when the game got a re-release on the Virtual Console for the 3DS, it did get a 7 out of 10 from Nintendo Live, so it's held up fairly decent since its original release in '96. Now in this classic platformer, you can play both as either Diddy or Dixie, just not at the same time, and the gameplay between the two characters are fairly the same, although there's a bit of a difference with Diddy Kong. He performs a cartwheel faster than Dixie. However, Dixie's able to use a helicopter spin and be able to whip enemies and kind of glide down more slowly. So she's a little more useful when you've got to make long jumps. So it's definitely nice to have these first two entries in the Donkey Kong Land series now available for Nintendo Switch Online. And I do have to wonder if we won't see the third game get dropped next week. But who knows, this is Nintendo, they could throw us a curveball and throw in Donkey Kong 64, but I wouldn't hold my breath. And for fun, I went ahead and tried the game out here, and you can see they do add a little bit of color like to Diddy Kong and the bananas here. And this seemed to be like the functionality of the Super Game Boy that added color to this game, although here it just kind of stands out. And I have this set on Game Boy Color mode, so I guess this is how the game would originally appear on the Game Boy Color. It's just a shame it doesn't really have the Super Game Boy effects. But let me know if you would like to see that feature added to the Game Boy emulators here on Nintendo Switch Online. And let me know if you ever played Donkey Kong Land when it was originally released, or if you look forward to trying it out for the first time here on Nintendo Switch Online. Drop your comments below and let me know your thoughts. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. It really does help out a lot. I'm pretty close to getting to 1,000 subscribers. At that point, I can get into the next tier of YouTube's partnership. So if you could help out with that, I'd really appreciate it. I want to thank you for watching and be good.